Every time you check if someone liked your post, agreed with your choice, or approved of your face, you hand them a piece of your soul. A small piece, but it adds up. One day you wake up, and there's nothing left that's actually yours. Nietzsche looked at this disease in 1880s Europe and saw it everywhere. People performing a version of themselves, built entirely out of other people's expectations. He had one brutal answer: stop. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be real. What if the person judging you right now is standing exactly where you used to stand, and the only reason they're judging you is because you're leaving them behind? One here day opinion is not truth. It's their fear projected on you. Nietzsche believed people don't judge what's wrong. They judge what makes them uncomfortable. Those are not the same thing. When you change, when you grow, when you start doing something most people are too afraid to do, you become a mirror. And most people don't want to look in that mirror because it shows them exactly how stagnant they've allowed themselves to become. So instead of looking inward, they aim outward, at you. Their criticism isn't information about you, it's a confession about them. Consider someone who starts waking at 5 in the morning, not to perform for anyone, just to claim 2 silent hours before the world demands anything of them. Their circle starts calling them obsessed, extreme, no longer fun. What's actually happening is simpler and colder. That person is building a discipline the others lack the will to build themselves, and the gap is unbearable to look at. Or consider someone who quietly stops drinking at gatherings. No speech, no announcement, they just choose water instead. Suddenly they're boring. Suddenly people who've known them for a decade need to explain who they used to be. That's not concern. That's discomfort dressed as concern, because sobriety in the room makes the drinking in the room visible. Nietzsche would tell you, their opinion of your discipline is a measurement of their own absence of it. Moningen used a word that should popularity is a trap. It means you're playing small to fit in. Nietzsche used a word that should make you uncomfortable: the average. The average is whatever earns universal approval. It's safe, it's predictable, it's been pre-approved by everyone because it threatens no one. If everybody likes you, ask yourself a darker question. What have you refused to say, refused to be, refused to risk, in order to keep that approval intact? Universal approval is rarely a sign of strength. It's usually a sign you've sanded off every edge that could possibly offend. Picture 2 officials. The first tells every crowd exactly what they want to hear. Every room loves him. He is never confronted, never challenged, never resented, and he never changes a single thing, because saying the comfortable thing requires no courage and produces no consequence. The second tells the room what it needs to hear, even when the room despises it for the saying. She's hated in certain circles. She's also the only one who actually moves anything. Real freedom looks like being hated by the many and respected by the few who matter. Amyris said, 3. Shame is not your enemy. It's your compass pointing to growth. Most people treat shame as proof they did something wrong. Nietzsche read it differently. Shame is a signal, not that you've betrayed others, but that you might be betraying your own standards. The discomfort isn't punishment, it's direction. The shame you feel for disappointing other people is manufactured. It's herd residue, programmed into you by years of needing their approval to survive socially. But the shame you feel for disappointing yourself, that one is sacred. That one is the only compass worth trusting. Picture someone choosing silence and a book over the dopamine of endless scrolling. The withdrawal feels like loss at first. It feels like falling behind. That feeling is not truth. It's an old addiction screaming because its supply has been cut. Nietzsche wrote, "You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes?" 4. Loneliness is required. You can't become strong while chasing crowds. Nietzsche didn't fear solitude. He prescribed it. He believed a person cannot hear their own thoughts inside a crowd, because a crowd is by design loud with everyone else's thoughts. Growth requires silence. Silence requires distance. Distance requires the willingness to be, at least for a while, alone. There's a crucial difference between alone and lonely. Lonely is solitude you didn't choose, solitude that was forced on you by absence. Alone, chosen, deliberate, sought, is something else entirely. It's the only condition under which a person can finally hear themselves think without static. Picture someone who stops attending gatherings that leave them feeling smaller than when they arrived. Circles built on gossip, comparison, slow erosion disguised as friendship. Their absence gets noticed. They get called distant, called isolated. What's actually happening is far simpler. They removed the noise so they could finally hear the signal. Or picture someone who takes a trip entirely alone, with no group to absorb the discomfort of unfamiliar streets and unscheduled hours. From the outside it looks bleak. From the inside something hardens, a self-reliance that no group trip could ever produce, because a group always gives you somewhere to hide. 5. You were never meant to be liked. You were meant to be unavoidable. Nietzsche's idea of becoming who you are has nothing to do with performance and nothing to do with permission. It means existing as your actual self so completely that pretending becomes physically impossible, not pleasing, not posturing. Just being, with such total honesty that you stop being optional to the people around you. Being liked is at best a secondary outcome, something that may or may not happen, depending on who's looking. Being unavoidable is something else entirely. It means you've become impossible to ignore because you've stopped editing yourself down into something forgettable. Picture a teacher who refuses to lower the bar no matter how loudly students complain. In the moment, they're resented. Years later, those same students measure every other teacher against the standard that one refused to compromise. The resentment fades, the result doesn't. Or picture someone who pushes a team harder than they want to be pushed, who refuses comfortable mediocrity, even when it would be easier to let it slide. In the moment, there's friction, maybe even real anger. But the people who pushed through it become something the comfortable version of themselves never would have. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be undeniable to anyone paying attention. Here is 4 steps to freedom. Step 1. Name who you're performing for. Stop talking about people in the abstract. Get specific. Whose opinion are you actually editing yourself around? A parent, a friend group, a coworker, an old version of someone who barely thinks about you anymore. Write down 3 specific names. Next to each, ask honestly, why am I still trying to earn this person's approval? Step 2. Ask if their value is yours. Every expectation you carry came from somewhere. Some of it is genuinely yours, most of it isn't. Pick one thing you currently do purely for approval. Ask, would I still do this if they never found out? If the answer is no, stop doing it this week. Step 3. Feel the shame, do it anyway. Shame is not a stop sign, it's a sign you're crossing out of the herd's territory and into your own. Choose one thing that creates discomfort but aligns with what you actually value. Do it anyway, fully aware of the shame, and let it pass through you instead of stopping you. Step 4. Choose one person who hates your growth. Somewhere in your life, there's a person whose disapproval has been quietly steering your decisions. Find them, name them, then let them disapprove. Identify one person who resents your progress. Continue the progress anyway. Their resentment is not evidence against you, it's evidence you're rising. Their opinion is their fear, not your failure. Popularity means you've made yourself small enough to be safe. Shame is a compass, not a verdict. Loneliness is the price of hearing your own thoughts clearly. And you were never meant to be liked, you were meant to be unavoidable. Nietzsche didn't want you liked, he wanted you real. Caring endlessly about opinions isn't kindness. It's slow, quiet self-betrayal, repeated daily, until there's no self left to betray. Stop performing, start existing. The person you're becoming doesn't need their approval. They need to witness your strength, whether they clap for it or not. Who's the person whose opinion you've been silently chasing? Name them in the comments below. Then stop. Let them hate it. Let them not understand. You were never built to be understood by everyone, only by the few who are actually paying attention. Subscribe for more Nietzsche philosophy and mental strength.